Hello, all, and welcome to this hands on lab. In our lab today, we will learn how to develop features using Amazon Q Developer Agent for software development or /dev. So let's get started. Prerequisites for this lab is knowledge of Amazon Q Developer. If you do not know what this service is all about, please refer to this overview tutorial that I had created some time back. URL to the tutorial is mentioned right here at the bottom. Prerequisites for this lab is basically installation of Amazon Q Developer extension or plugin for your IDE. In my case, I have already performed this installation for my IDE, which is VS Code. If you do not know or if you've not performed this IDE, this link mentioned over here has the required steps. I will have this link and all the links that we discuss in this video mentioned in its description. So go to the description, pick up the link and perform this installation before continuing further ahead. These are some reference URLs. I would certainly recommend that you visit this URL as it has additional information on this particular topic. As I develop additional hands-on labs for Amazon Q, I will be adding them to this particular playlist. So if you are interested in this particular topic, do bookmark this particular URL and then you can go through these hands-on labs as they are added to the playlist. Scenario for our lab today. We will ask Amazon Q Developer Agent for software development to generate code that will upload files to a S3 bucket. And after it has generated code to upload files to a S3 bucket, then we will request it to generate code to list files that are present in our bucket. So there are two operations we are telling the developer agent to do. First is to generate code to upload the files to S3 bucket, and second is to list files that are present in our bucket. Our ask is pretty straightforward, pretty simple. So let's see how Amazon Q Dev handles our request. Now, one thing I would like to mention that while I have created these steps, right, the Q developer has generated a code in a particular fashion. But every time I have tried to generate this code, let's say to upload S3 files, it creates a different version or a different flavor of this code. So if I have to change some of these steps as we go along the way, do not get surprised. If you perform this on your end and your steps do not match my steps, do not be surprised. Just go along with the flow. QDev will definitely help you out, but this is to show you that how to use QDev and move further along. It's not going to be 100% match, and you will see in this demo itself while we are doing this lab, while you are doing this lab on your own, the steps that it generates for me versus the steps that it generates for you, the type of code it writes for me versus for you, or anybody else doing this lab may not be the same. So the first step that we have to do is to create a Windows workspace folder. I'm calling this folder as S3 file upload. You can call it whatever you like. Just ensure that you remember the folder name. So let's create this Windows folder. And once we create the folder, we will open this folder in VS Code as our workspace. So this is my queue. I'm going to say new folder and call it S3 file upload. Okay, you can call it anything that you like. And where is my code? Okay, let me open code. So it's opening. Okay, I can close this. And this is my file. In fact, if I close this folder, it was my previous one. So sorry about that. I had a folder with the same name when I was trying this out for the first time. But if I have to redo the steps, then go to open folder, pick up that particular folder location, Control C, Control V, select folder. Oh, okay. No, not this one. It is the folder underneath it. So open folder. Okay, not that fast. Okay. This is the folder that we want to open. S3 file upload. So select folder over here. Okay, so this is the folder. This folder has to be empty, as you can see. So we have completed step 1. Step 2. Now we are going to go to Amazon Q Developer in a VS Code. We are going to type out this particular command using /dev. Ensure that /dev turns bold. And the prompt that we are going to give is create a project to upload files to a S3 bucket. It will take a command, it will work on it. It will take few minutes to generate the code. So please be patient. And after it generates the code, we will review the code. Either we will accept the code or provide feedback and tell it to regenerate the code. Okay, if this operation fails for any reason, then provide feedback and simply redo it. Okay, so let's see what happens. So this is my Visual Studio Code. I'm going to Q. I'm going to tell Q /dev. Now, if you see, it's giving me this little prompt over here where my mouse is. So click on that. And you see, this turned into bold. It's bolded now. Now we are saying create a project to upload files to a S3 bucket. Okay, and I'm going to hit enter. So it's telling me that I will generate the code for that. It is generating the code. And it will take some time for this code to be generated. Okay, so just be patient. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the recording for a little bit and then come back once the code has been generated. So it has generated the code for me. So let me scroll up. This was our request. It says it will generate the code. It is generating the code for me. It has figured out that my project structure is empty, as I'm highlighting over here. Okay. And it'll create the necessary files for me to upload, to basically have the code to upload files to my S3 bucket. And it is going to focus on implementing the upload logic in the main py file. It will select the relevant code chunks and add necessary logic to upload files to the S3 bucket. And the basic functionality for uploading files through S3 is now in place. However, we need to add the ability to upload multiple files and handle command line arguments for specifying which files to upload. I'll update the main py to include this functionality. Now, remember, I did not tell that has to upload multiple files. I only said to upload file. Okay. Did I say file or file? Yeah, I said files actually. Okay, so that's why I thought multiple files. The basic functionality is complete, and now it'll update readme.md. Okay, and it has created, these files, like it's created a folder source, then main py, s3 uploader, config, requirements.txt, readme.md. It has changed all these files. And finally, it is asking me, would I like to add this code to your project, to my project, or either provide feedback for new code or do anything else? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this accept code button and tell it to add this particular code. I mean, if I don't like it, I can always delete all the files and tell it to upload, to regenerate the code again. Okay, so let me just click on this. So it has updated the files and it's asking me, would I like to perform another task? Now, before I go there, let me go to my files. This is a source folder. This is the readme.txt. Okay, now it is telling me that to install what is mentioned in the requirements.txt is telling me to provide my access key ID, secret access key, S3 bucket name, and AWS region. And then it's telling to run the main script to upload files to my S3 bucket. And this is the command to do that. And it's telling me to replace this with my file names. This is an example for doing that. So this is one. This is my config. It has created a config file. Okay. So these are the various variables. Okay. And this is my main over here. Fine. And S3 uploader, that should be over here. This is the main class that actually performs the upload of multiple files to my S3 bucket. Okay, so let's go back to readme.txt. But before we go there, we have essentially completed this particular step and it worked pretty well. Remember, every time that you generate this as well, your response from queue will be different from whatever response that I received. So if your response is a little different, don't worry, just work along with it. Step 3 is to basically review readme.md. So open this, read the suggested steps. If you need to perform any installations, then review and install the required packages. So let me go back. Readme.md is right here. It's telling me to install this. And what is there in requirements.txt? It is basically doing the installation of Boto 3, 1.2, 1.26.90 and Python dot environment. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so that's the first thing. After that, it's telling me to create an environment file in the project root and then add this to it and basically set the various values. Okay, so first, let's do first thing first. Do this installation. And after we do that, then we can run our Python script. So let's do this. Let me copy this pip command, copy, go to my terminal. Okay, I'm going to shift these windows. Okay, so, okay. Okay, so it's right there. Copy, paste this here. So pip install whatever is mentioned in the requirements.txt. Hit enter. Let's see what happens. So it's uninstalling 1.21.65 and it will be installing 1.29.60 if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So it's successfully uninstalled that. And remember, it also has to install Python .env. So, okay, so it has performed the required installation, it seems like. Okay, perfect. So we did that part. The second thing is telling me is to create an env file. So at the root with the following content. So I'm going to copy the content, copy, go to the root.env, paste this here, right? So this. Okay, sorry, there you go. So what does it need first? It needs my access key ID, secret access key, AWS region, and S3 bucket name. So we have essentially completed this step. Okay, so step number 4. Ensure that whatever user that you are using has programmatic access to S3. Right now for this lab, just associate this particular existing policy to your user, which is Amazon S3 full access. This is not for production. This is only for this lab. Okay. And this is just to ensure that you do not face any security challenges as such. And most importantly, you need to have this user's access key ID and secret access key handy. And then set these values as per the instructions that are provided or as per your experience. Now there are multiple ways to set this. You can have environment variables, CLI, and many other ways to do this. But the instructions that have been given over here, and we are following them as per README, is to create this env file, right? And have this code copied over there and set these values. Now, for my user that I'm using for this lab, this is the secret access key. I'm going to copy it and go back to my env file and paste it right there. Okay. Then let's copy my secret access key, Control C and Control V. Okay, then it's asking what? My AWS region. Okay, I'm just going to say US, I think it's East 1. I think it's US East 1. Let me just go. Yeah, US East. Okay, and I can't copy it from there. Okay, so basically US East and then 1. And my S3 bucket name. So this is my S3 bucket name that I have already created one. Okay, so you can either create one or use an existing one, whichever one that you like. So Control V. So we have completed this step. This also, I already have an existing bucket. You can use your existing bucket or create a new bucket. So this step has also been completed. Finally, it's time to upload files to our S3 bucket as per the command that is generated by QDev in your readme.md. So now let's go back over here. I'm going to save this. Let's go to our readme.md. See, we've provided everything that it asked for. Okay, so now this code better work. So let me go back to readme.md. And finally, this is the command to run this particular piece of code. So let me kind of copy this particular command. So copy, paste it right here. So this is our main file name, and then it is path to your multiple files. So let's go back. This is our file right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a text document. So say file1.txt. And then I'm going to say new. What should we create over here? Maybe I'll create another text document, doesn't matter. File2.txt. Of course, you could, create something else or have a different form of file or whatever. I don't know if I have any pictures, etc. You can use that as well. But I'm just keeping it simple right now. So file1 and file2.txt, and I'm going to open this one and say file1.txt. Okay, and save this. And basically say file2.txt. I will soon be uploaded. See you in S3. Okay, so Control C, and I'm going to paste this right here. Okay, so we have basically made the required changes. So we come back over here and we basically say file1.txt, file2.txt. So this is our final command to upload multiple files to S3. So copy. Let's go back to VS Code. So this is my terminal. So we have basically followed whatever command that it has given to use this piece of code to the T. So let's paste it here. Okay. I think it looks good. So let's execute this and see. It's telling me this file does not exist. Okay, let's go back and see where my file is. It is, okay, go back. Why is it saying that this file does not exist? That shouldn't be a problem. Do I have? Yes, I do have these. And yes. Oh, understood. It has a double txt. Got it. My fault. My fault. Remove this. Okay. And okay. So my fault. Remove this. Okay. So it is right. Clear. Now let's see. So it's telling me that both of these files were successfully uploaded. Okay. That's a good sign. Come back over here. Go into my bucket. Refresh this. There they are. So both of my files have been uploaded. Let's see if it's what it is, what we were expecting it to be. So this is the file, and I'm going to tell it to open it. And there it is. I like it. And I'm sure that the other file was also uploaded correctly. Open. Open. And there it is. So see you in S3. So both these files have been uploaded successfully. Okay, so we have basically completed this step. Now remember, as part of this lab, we just don't have to upload the files. We also have to add a function to list files in a user-provided S3 bucket. Now, the code that it has generated, okay, it has already, it's taking the S3 bucket name from a config file or from the environment file. Now let's see what happens when we give this particular task to it. Everything is same. Our function or our prompt to it is going to change. And I don't think this will be needed. I don't think you need /dev again, especially when you are in Q. So let's go back over here and now go to Q. Now, remember it was asking me, do you have another task? And we did everything that we wanted. Now we can tell Q that, yes, we have another task for you. So let's click on, yes, I have another task. Okay, what would you like me to do? And this is going to say add. So I don't think you need /dev. So that's why I was saying you don't need that because you're already in the developer agent. So say add a function to list files, list, okay, I'm going to say to list files in a user provided S3 bucket name. Okay, so I'm just kind of, let me just say bucket. You can make changes. Let's say you can say add a function to list files in a S3 bucket. Okay, and you might want to remove user provided. I'm just having user provided over here. But let's see, because remember we have our S3 bucket name already in a config. But if it can make the required changes, let's see what it does with this particular prompt and our request. So I'm going to hit enter now. Okay, now it's telling me again that it's going to generate the code for that. And now it's generating code. Again, generation of this code is going to take some time. If this code fails for whatever reason, do not worry. You can try and do it again. Okay. Otherwise, you can just modify the prompt that you gave it to see if the modified prompt works better than the one that you gave it earlier. There are multiple ways to skin the cat over here. Okay. Just play around with it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording, let it generate the code. Once it has generated the code successfully, there it is, I think it's generating it. Or if it errors out for whatever reason, then I will resume the recording again. It takes a little while, so be patient. So it has generated the required code. So let me scroll back up again. This was our ask, add a function to list files in a user provided S3 bucket. It has generated the code. It generated the code. It says that it will start by opening main py s3 uploader py config py. Okay. It has examined the code in s3 uploader py. Then after examining the code, it has determined that s3 uploader class is appropriate place to add this new function for listing files in a user provided S3 bucket. Then it will add a new method called as list files over here, as it has shown, to the S3 uploader class. And now it will update the imports in S3 uploader py. And finally, the implementation of the new functions of to list files is a user provided S3 bucket is complete. Okay, it has reviewed these files, change S3 uploader and main py. And these are the code suggestions. And finally, it's asking me, would you like me to add these code suggestions to your project? Or would you say provide feedback and regenerate? I'm going to accept the code and tell it to add this code to my project. So let's click on accept code. So it has now updated the files. Again, it's asking me if I have any other task. But before we go there, let us see what changes it has made. So let's go over here. Let's go to S3 uploader. That is one of the main classes. Okay. So scroll, bring this down. So there it is. This is our function right here. And it's basically listing all the files. It is calling list objects right here, taking bucket name. That's good. And we have the remainder of function right there. It said it has changed main.py. So what changes did it make over here? So invalid action, use list or upload. So it has added two actions, list or upload, and accordingly it will continue further ahead. So these are the changes that it has made. So now when you run main, it will ask for an argument, usage and actions, list or upload, and then continue further ahead. So yeah, these are some of the changes that it has made to both upload multiple files and list files in a S3 bucket. So these are the changes that it has made. So it kind of, successfully did this. Now the last step is to run the code and to see if our list files works. So let us go back. Now it has made all these changes. Let's see if we can compile this piece of code. Okay. So I'm only going to say this much. Let's see what happens. Right. I don't know if it has changed readme. No, it has not changed readme. But I'm only going to mention until here. So only main.py, Python src main.py. Let's see what happens. If it needs something more, it will cry for it. Okay. So it's telling me Python action file actions are list and upload. Okay. So this over here, an action is list. Okay. Okay. Remember, I had mentioned that it has to be user defined or user provided S3 bucket. But since this was written originally to take the name of the S3 bucket from config, it understood that. And it knows that the user provided S3 bucket name will be in the config file. And it took that and is basically now telling me that I have file 1 and file 2. Now, if we come over here and we, I don't know, maybe create maybe a Word document file. Okay, I'm going to now come and say upload file.doc. Is it doc or docx? I think it's doc. Okay, this was uploaded. Now, again, if we list, okay, there it is. All our 3 files were uploaded successfully, and we can list them successfully as well. So guys, this is how you work with Amazon Q Developer. Do play around with it. The developer agent for software development, which is /dev, is a real nice tool. So you saw that how it works, right? It does a decent job. Every time my experience has been different. Sometimes it gets confused, but it all depends upon, how you format your prompt. If you formatted your prompt correctly, it will work just well. So this is it from me today, guys. I will see you shortly in some other video. Till then, take care. Bye-bye and happy learning.